welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today's video is all about gratitude journaling. So right now this seems to be more prevalent than ever, this idea that we should at the end of the day be writing down things that we've been grateful for that day as like a reminder that we have positive things in our lives. And I think because of the situation at the moment with lockdown and people not being able to live life in the way that they normally would, this idea of gratitude journaling has particularly gained a lot of motion in the past few months. So I guess the kind of premise is that, at the end of the day, instead of writing a diary, you write down the things that you're grateful for that day, or generally like the things that you're grateful for in your life. And that even if you have had like the worst day ever, you still do it and it would look like, I'm grateful that I had a roof over my head today, or I'm grateful that I got through the day. The things that you can choose to be grateful for can be minimal. They can be kind of basic needs, because there are people who do not have a roof over their head. There are people that don't have their basic needs met. And it's to remind you that there are always people that are in a worse situation than you are. And yes, there may be people in what you would see as a better situation, but that, we should be grateful for what we have. So that's the kind of premise behind gratitude journaling. However, as per most of my other videos, I'm going to be stepping in with a slightly different look on this. For me, yes, being aware of the positive things that you have in your life is great. Lots of people can lose sight of the positive things that they have in their lives. And usually the things that mean the most to us are connections, family, friends, and they're people. They're not necessarily things. And we can get caught up sometimes in life thinking that we need to accumulate things rather than thinking about the people that we have in our lives and living our lives in a way that aligns with the things that are actually the most important to us, which I think for most people, it's connections, family, friends, and love. Sometimes you have like a shake-up moment in life. So you may have a bereavement, a loss, a divorce, a relocation, losing your job or changing your career, or some real pinnacle moment that kind of makes you see the world in a slightly different way. I myself had that moment a few years ago that made me realize, wow, what is important in my life and why aren't I living to that? And I think this misalignment between what is important to you and what you're kind of working towards, that can come up quite often. I certainly see that quite a lot. I see lots of people who are caught up on wanting the next thing, so the bigger car or the bigger house or whatever, or thinking that they will be happy once they get to a certain place. And there's less realization that what they have right now and how their life is in that moment is actually already good enough just as it is. And that's something that, I see quite regularly. And I think that in those instances, when I have come across people who are practicing gratitude journaling, they are more aware of the good things in their life. However, this is where it can be problematic, because if you are kind of constantly thinking that your life could be worse and you should be grateful for what you have, then when you don't feel happy with what you have, you almost self-invalidate. So you almost invalidate your own feelings, and you tell yourself that you should be grateful with what you have, even though you might actually be really struggling with an aspect of your life at this point in time. So, for example, if you are not happy in your job and you want a different job and you're having loads of issues at your work, in the midst of a global pandemic, you could very well be thinking, well, I should just be grateful that I have a job because loads of people don't have a job. I should be grateful that I have a regular income, whereas lots of people don't have a regular income. And it's that comparison mindset that gratitude journaling kind of promotes, that can then lead you to settling for what you have because it should be enough for you. So you dismiss those feelings of not being happy and whatever else is going on. You dismiss your own kind of mental well-being, because when you look at the kind of grand scheme of things, you should be happy about it, even though you're not. And then you don't kind of force a change, if that makes sense. So yes, it can take the focus away from the things that you're worried about and the things that you're concerned about, but actually sometimes we're worried and concerned about things for a reason. Sometimes being worried and concerned about something or finding something really difficult or struggling with something really highlights an area that we're not happy with and that we want to change. And if you are deflecting that by focusing on other things or distracting from it, or gratitude journaling to show that really you're actually happy about it and you should be grateful for it, you're not kind of recognizing where in your life you're not happy and where in your life you may want change and movement. You could look at your life and say, well, overall I have all of these positives in my life, and what is that one small thing? And you can almost minimize what could feel like quite a big problem for you, or something that you really want to change. So it's things like, for example, if you were really struggling with your kids, then you can write, well, actually, I'm really grateful that I have them, and I should just be grateful that I have them. Lots of people can't have children. I was able to. And that comparison mindset comes in for a start, and then all the shoulds come in. And when the shoulds are coming in, it tends to mean that people are invalidating themselves, because they're saying, I don't feel like that, but I should feel like that, and there's something wrong with me for not doing so. So the minute that shoulds start to come in is usually when you can see some kind of conditioning. Now the fact is your struggles are perfectly valid as they are. You're allowed to struggle. And in terms of children, just because other people may not necessarily be able to have children doesn't mean that you should kind of struggle along with your kids in silence and not accept help for your very real struggles, because you do have them. So in some respects, gratitude journaling is amazing because, like I said, it can remind you that things are not all as bad as they seem, like particularly if you're in a really, really difficult place, but they can be invalidating as well, because they can kind of lead you to believe that your opinions, your views, your worries are not valid, and that they're kind of not worth it because you have so much to be thankful for, and therefore you should be thankful. And it can cause you to not want to make changes in the rest of your life, because it's almost like, well, if I just focus on the positives all the time, then the negatives aren't as bad. And there is some truth in that, but I did do a video a little while ago around positive mental attitude and why sometimes positive mental attitude can be a little bit invalidating as well, because it can focus so much on the good that it negates the negative. And actually part of my role as a counsellor is sitting with someone and saying, it's okay to feel the way that you feel. So if you feel crap about something, it's perfectly fine to feel crap about something. There's no need to, you don't have to have a valid reason. You don't have to have a valid explanation. Society often tells us that we need to have a reason, and it needs to be a rational reason why we feel upset or sad or angry or however we feel. In my experience, you just feel how you feel. And that's okay. You don't need to explain it. You can just feel that way. You have to feel your feelings to let them go. And if you're constantly distracting from them, then you're not going to be able to do that. And it's almost like through gratitude journaling, you get rid of the safe space you have for yourself. So I'm not saying that gratitude journaling is bad, but for me, it's not a term, but authentically journaling your experience, giving yourself space to feel grateful and to also feel sad, the positive and the negative, everything, that would be a far more helpful thing, to the point where you can say, today, I felt really crap with the kids, but then I thought, oh, I should be grateful for having them. And whilst that is true, and I am really grateful for having them, actually today was really hard. Now that's a real authentic view on someone's day. You can be multiple things. You can be grateful to have children and also have a really rough day, and that's okay. So from my point of view, being real is perhaps far more useful than gratitude journaling, but I know that at this point in time, there are so many benefits to doing so. And the purpose of this video today was not to kind of say that gratitude journaling itself is horrendous, because it isn't. Lots of people get a lot out of it, but from a kind of mental health perspective, being real, being authentic, being allowed to feel rubbish, being allowed to feel great, being able to experience the full range of human emotion is kind of the goal of good mental health. And in some respects, I think that gratitude journaling is a little bit limited with that. So that's the purpose of today's video. It's just a ramble about gratitude journaling. This is basically my videos. Every week I just upload a little ramble about something. That's how it goes. But wherever you are, I hope you're keeping safe and well, and I'll catch you in the next one.